We're going to set up a couple of schedules that go along with this project. The first one I'd like to create is a simple door schedule that tallies up only the new doors that were installed. So you go into the View tab, you're going to click on Schedules, Schedule Quantities, and pick Doors out of the list. And we want to add the family and type, the mark, and we're going to add phase created. We'll put the mark up so it's the first thing that we see, and hit OK. And so this gives us a schedule that has all the doors in the series, including the existing doors, which I don't really want to list. I only want to list the doors here that were in new construction phase 1 and phase 2. So to fix the situation, I need to filter the door schedule. And what I need to filter the door schedule to would be to phase created. And I want this set to is greater than existing. And when I do that, now I have just the brand new phases in the brand new construction and no existing doors listed. So this is where filter comes in handy. The other thing I'd like to do is sort. It looks like it's sorting these in ascending order. So I guess that's all we really need to do. If we wanted to add a more information to this, obviously we could add more columns, but that just shows you how you would filter out the information you don't need to include in the schedule. So then if we drag and drop this onto our sheet, let's put this onto, I think we'll have room for that one here. So I'm going to drag and drop that on here. And the next schedule we're going to create will be one that involves us being able to put in some value, the cost analysis, in other words, to the demolition of the walls. So there's all of our new door information. Okay, so let's go ahead and make another schedule. This time we're going to take, for instance, all the demolished walls, and we're going to figure out how many cubic feet of wall there is, and then we'll put a value to that of how much it costs to demolish it, and we can put a schedule up that gives us an estimate for the demolition cost for the two phases. So we're going to start off creating a new schedule, and this time it's going to be based on our walls. So we'll go down to the bottom to find walls. And I want to add wall type, I believe, because I want this to be sorted by type. We need volume, and then we're excuse me, we're going to create a new parameter that will take the wall cubic feet and help us to calculate our cost. Okay, so we're going to hit add parameter, and we want it to be a type parameter because we want it to associate with the wall type, and calculate that wall type and filter. Well, not filter, but what that will do is if we apply a cost to that wall type, to calculate it and say this wall type costs this much per cubic foot, let's say, to demolish, then it will apply that value to all the other wall types in the set. If we apply it as an instance, we'd have to do that to each individual wall, and so we want this to come in as a type. So we'll call this demo cost per cubic foot, and this is going to be a currency because we're going to apply a dollar amount to it, and then we're going to group under construction. Okay, so type parameter, that's important. Um, Demo cost per cubic foot, currency construction. Okay, so when we hit OK, that adds to the schedule field. And then we're going to need to calculate a value. A calculated value allows us to put in a formula to crunch these numbers together to get a result. So we'll call this demo cost. The discipline is going to be common. The type is currency, and the formula has to be volume divided by demo cost per cubic foot. So volume times demo cost per cubic foot. This has to be written exactly the same way, because what we're using here, this word is a variable, or it's a parameter now. So if I don't use exactly the same upper and lower case and everything and exactly how I wrote that parameter, then it's not going to make any sense. Now we're going to run into a problem here. This is going to give me inconsistent units, and I wanted to have that happen so you could understand why that's happening. The reason is volume, when it returns a value. Let me back it up a little bit. Let's go ahead and look at this schedule. When it turns the value of volume, do you see it says CF next to it? So when I use that formula, I can't take 1155.66 CF and multiply it times my demo cost per cubic foot, because when I put a value in here, let's say of this exterior brick is going to cost, let's say that's going to cost $25 to get rid of that type of wall per cubic foot. So do you notice that every other brick wall here has that same value that's been applied to it, which is great. So I want to just multiply 25 times 1155.66, but I can't because the CF is in there. And the computer can't do it that way. We can do it. We understand. We just want to take the CF off. But in order to get the CF to come off and make that an integer, then I have to change the way I write the formula. So the formula has to remove the cubic feet from this value, and then we can multiply it times 25. So in order to do that, we go into, let's go back into the schedule. So if we go into edit fields, we're going to add the calculated parameter, and this is going to be demo cost. And it's going to be a currency, and what I want to do with the formula is type in volume divided by 1 CF. And the CF works because there's CF is being used as the volume value. Then I can multiply it times demo cost per cubic foot, and making sure that says the same thing. You see how the formula worked this time, and when I hit OK, now these actually have a value to them. So demo cost is showing up with an actual value for those exterior brick walls. Okay. So the next step is we want to actually have these values here and here show up as currencies. So I want to change the appearance, I believe, of the columns. Under formatting, both demo cost and demo cost per cubic foot should have a dollar sign in front of it, because right now it just says 25, but 25 what? And then same thing here. So across from demo cost per cubic foot, or having that highlighted, I'm going to go into field format and I'm going to turn off use project settings and set the unit symbol to dollar sign, and we'll see what happens when we do that. So see how those turn to dollars. So I'm going to do the same thing with demo cost, field format, turn off use project settings and set that to dollar sign. And then I think it would be nice to order these by type and then also by their volume. So I'm going to do a sorting and grouping, and the first sort will be by type in ascending order, and then I want to sort by volume in ascending order, and I'd like to show a grand total, and instead of title, count, and totals I just want total only. And we'll see what happens to the wall. So we have curtain walls listed first, and then so on. Now that kind of organizes things in the way that we want, but what I'm realizing by looking at this long list of walls is this is listing every single wall that's in the entire project, but we really only want to list the walls that we're demolishing. And so I'll show you what we have for options for phase filters. Is we have a show all option, we have a show none option. If we show previous and demo, that shows both our demolished and our existing walls that we don't plan on demolishing, so that's not good. If we show just new, that doesn't work. If we show previous phase, that doesn't work. So what we need to do is we need to create a new phase filter so that we can just show demolished items in this list. So to create the new phase filter, under Manage, we go into Phases and go to Phase Filters, and I want to create a new phase filter called Demo Only, and I want to turn off or not display new, not display existing. I want to show demolished, but I don't want to display temporary. Now we don't happen to have any temporary items, but that will make it so it eliminates everything except for the demolished items. Okay? So now I should be able to go over here to my phase filter for this schedule and pick Demo Only, and then it just shows the walls that we've demolished from our project. So now I can assign a value to each one of the walls. So I'm going to say that the 6 and an 1/8 inch wall is probably going to have a higher value. We'll say that that's going to cost $18, let's say, to demolish that. Okay, and you notice that pop-up came up to say, hey, any other wall type of this type is going to get an $18 value applied to it. So all of the walls that are this size that we're demolishing have 183 cubic feet, and so it's going to cost us this much to demolish those walls. These are all the same type walls, so as soon as I put one value on these, and we'll say that that's going to cost $12 to demolish that wall type, it says right here it will apply to all elements of the same type. So that applies to all of them, and then we get a total demo cost here for, or we don't have a total yet. So I'm not sure why we don't have our total. Maybe that got shut off. So let me go into Formatting, Sorting and Grouping. We should have grand totals for these showing up. Let's see. Show conditional formats. Let's see. Oh, I think I want to calculate totals for the demo cost per square foot. There's the calculate totals there. That's the wrong one though. So under formatting, I don't want to do it for that one. I want to do it for this one. And now I've got a grand total for everything, of total demo cost. So this schedule would get added to one of the views. I think probably we'd put it on the last page. I suppose it can go anyway, so I need a wall schedule. They may want to rename that. Instead of wall schedule, it maybe makes sense for us to rename that wall demo cost estimate. And and that makes more sense, so that when we look at that on the main page, then it's indicating what we're actually looking at here. So that gives you an idea of how we can use the phasing and the phase filters, and the schedule filters in order to show exactly what we want to show about something that has multiple phases.